First, we're going to be talking about Cuba. Now, Cuba has, I gotta say, props to the Cuban people because they needed to stand up, and that's exactly what they're doing. They are in the streets, they are marching together against a dictatorship and communism, and they're just against it. And they want their freedom, they want the ability to have internet, to have a choice when it comes to toothpaste or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They want a choice. Right now, Cubans literally have one option for everything, and they have lines for food. It's it's terrible, and we've had an embargo on Cuba since the 60s. John F. Kennedy put it in place. Now it was because of Cold War and some other stuff that was going on. Whatever it is, it's 2021. You think that we can actually move towards maybe lifting the embargo? Something that, you guessed it, Trump was trying to do. In fact, back in 2017, he said, "Hey, let's start, going through the motions to lift this embargo and help the Cuban people, and also we should make sure that they don't get the regime in charge doesn't get the money, that the Cuban people get the money." So not only was he trying to lift the embargo, he was trying to make sure that the citizens of Cuba was actually getting the money, which is amazing. So I'm going to start by showing you President Joe Biden's statement. Okay, here's his statement on the protests in Cuba. "We stand with the Cuban people in their clarion call for freedom and relief from the tragic grip of the pandemic." I'm just going to keep reading because that's like a smack to Cuban people. Right off the bat, setting a seed of something that isn't even true. Ridiculous. And from the decades of repression and economic suffering to which they have been subjected by Cuba's authoritarian regime. That's what it is. That's what they're out there. They're marching for freedom against the... He just inserted the tragic grip part. It didn't need to be there. None of them are out there actually screaming like, "We need the vaccine." But I got to play it careful because my strikes end. One of my strikes ends tomorrow. I don't want to just kick myself in the face here. Here we go. It continues. "The Cuban people are bravely asserting fundamental and universal rights. Those rights, including the right of peaceful protests, mind you, peaceful, and the right to freely determine their own future, must be respected. The United States calls on the Cuban regime to hear their people and serve their needs at this vital moment rather than enriching themselves." Okay. There's a lot to break down here. Right off the bat, he's setting a seed of something that isn't what the Cuban people are fighting for. They are fighting for freedom. They are fighting against this Cuban authoritarian regime that's basically been holding power for 60 years. Right? They're marching through the streets because they want freedom. They want to be able to protest. But then it's interesting because Joe Biden saying that these people have the right to peacefully protest, the Biden administration is saying that when, let's see, Antifa is just an idea to them. The Black Lives Matter were literally burning down our country for months on end last year. Maybe they're even continuing, I don't know, but last year for certain, and nothing. They weren't even acknowledging it. But it wasn't peaceful protesting, but suddenly they're all about Cuba having this peaceful protest. Hey, look, Joe Biden, if you really want to help Cuba, lift the embargo. Lift the embargo, right? Or maybe continue what Trump was trying to do back in 2017. And I'm gonna read that in a little bit. I just want to go through a couple of these things that these Democrats are making it all about COVID. They're just laying it on super thick. This is from Julie Chung, and this is getting So ratioed. Hold on, let me just show you the ratio here. 10,000 comments, 4,000 retweets, 3,000 likes. That's crazy. How many people are hating on this? Listen to this. This is Julie Chung, by the way. She is the acting assistant secretary for the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs. Okay. Peaceful protests are growing in Cuba as the Cuban people exercise their right of peaceful assembly. Accurate to that point, to express concern about rising COVID cases/deaths and medicine shortages, period. No, they're not. They're not. That's not what I'm hearing. I've been watching videos from Cuba, and everyone is, I mean, a lot of them aren't speaking English, for the record. I don't speak, I don't speak any other language except English. I do understand a little bit of Spanish. I can understand actually a little bit of Swedish now after years of being part of, you know, a Swedish household. And, you know, this is a lie. This is a blatant lie. They're just gaslighting. Whoever's listening to the Democrats are probably like, yeah, these people meaning the people that listen to the Democrats, are just going to eat it up. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, right on, Cuba. Like, yeah, we totally get it. But she continues here, we recommend the numerous efforts of the Cuban people mobilizing donations to help neighborhood need. Oh, donate to Democrats to help the Cubans. Wow. Wow. How did that work out last year for Black Lives Matter? What are they raised over $1 billion, right? Some crazy amount. And how much of that went to like black communities? Like 30 million or something. 30 million is a lot of money. But when they raise $1 billion and only 30 million of it goes to black communities, like, you got to ask yourself, where's that money going? And then there's, of course, the connection to the Democratic funding site that Black Lives Matter was using, and then somehow Joe Biden was like raising more money than Trump, who clearly people came out for and loved. I don't know who came out for Joe Biden, but it wasn't many people. Anyway, these people, I mean, even Twitter, look at this. This is on Twitter. Protests take place across Cuba as the country faces shortages of COVID-19 vaccines and basic necessities. It's about the necessities. It's about them not having the freedom of speech, the right to go out and do whatever they want to do as human beings. Seriously, I have yet to see anybody in any of the videos that I've seen coming from Cuba. It's got nothing to do with COVID at all. None of it does. But seriously, like, this is a Bloomberg short. Look how many, they're just blasting it. This Bloomberg quick take. And they're like, they have a mayor. Where is it? The mayor speaks like right here. Here's the mayor no, this is just a citizen speaking right here. People come out to freely, hold on, I just want to freely express themselves, and they are repressing them. That's unacceptable, and we're here to not allow them to beat them. Yo, seriously, this has nothing to do with COVID. Nothing. These people are making it, not the Cubans, the Democrats are making it about COVID. It's all about COVID to them. And even Twitter's going along with it. It's pretty ridiculous. Hold on, I just need to get a little glass of water here. Got like a hair in my mouth. Got it. Pardon me. Even look, Ron DeSantis comes out and he goes, Florida supports the people of Cuba as they take to the streets against tyrannical regime in Havana. The Cuban dictatorship has repressed the people of Cuba for decades and is now trying to silence those who have the courage to speak out against its disastrous policies. They turned the internet off in Cuba. The dictators straight up turned the internet off so that these videos can't get out anymore, right? They took the internet away. Now, hopefully people are able to have satellite or some other way because, how else are we going to help these people? They're shutting them down. The regime is nervous because their people are in the streets. They're sending out vans upon vans of the so-called black berets. These are the secret police, basically. Not so secret. It's just the police of the dictators, and they're sending out to go, as that one person said, they're going to beat these people into submission, essentially. But then, of course, we've got the haters. This is Representative Anna Eskamani. Says the governor who pushed through House Bill 1, a bill motivated as a means to silence racial justice protest. Okay, I didn't show you this, but it's basically a reply here to Ron DeSantis's tweet. And of course, I responded to her. I said, I think you dropped your sickle, because she's got a hammer there. For those who don't know what Bill 1 is, because a lot of people, especially people who follow her, will probably just blindly accept the fact, and I've gone through, and there are so many people who don't really understand what this is. If you block an intersection and you start beating on a car, that car has every right to drive away. And if the person beating on the car gets injured, it's their fault, not the person that drove away. I've seen people get murdered. There was a man in DC who got murdered, even though it was a carjacking and the girl was worried about her phone and she went to juvie for it because she was a 14-year-old. She still murdered the man. I've seen people beaten in their cars over the past year. It's crazy. And Ron DeSantis basically said, hey, look, Florida citizens, if you're fearing for your life because people are attacking your vehicle, you have every right to leave. Hey, peaceful protest, you can peaceful protest in America. When you get violent, that's going from peaceful to non-peaceful, and you start attacking people's cars. Look, if I had my family in the car and people started attacking my vehicle, I'm gonna hit the gas. I said it's last year, and I still hold true, even more so than ever, because I'm actually getting close to having children. I'm thinking about it. I mean, I got the house, I got the wife. I got those two things, and I got the job. So next comes the kids, right? So in my situation, I'm like, thank you, Ron DeSantis. You basically made those people think twice before attacking vehicles in the street trying to go home, or blocking ambulances, maybe saving someone's life, right? These people don't think about it. But that's what Bill 1 is. I know I got a little sidetracked, but these people are basically taking everything and twisting it and not giving people the full story about it. It's just sickening. Robbie Starbuck says, in all the protest videos from Cuba, they shout for liberty, freedom, and an end to the communist regime. They don't say a word about COVID despite the lies coming out of the Biden administration. Exactly what I was thinking. He said it perfectly. All of them are looking for liberty and freedom. I saw someone carrying an American flag. People are spreading it around like, look, even the Cubans are holding an American flag as a sign of freedom, because that's what the American flag is. That's what America is. It's a representation of freedom, right? And the Cubans recognize it. The citizens in Hong Kong recognize it, right? People who don't have freedom want to come to America because they have freedom there. These people have no clue. Cubans know. They get it. Look at this. What do you think they're fighting against, huh? You think this has anything to do with COVID? No. It's because they want an end to this communist regime that has held Cuba at their grasp for decades. They want it to end. They want it to end. And then look, this is what's crazy. Here's CNN reporter blaming Trump for Cuba's protests, not the communist regime. They're blaming Trump now. They go on to say that, well, all the problems that we have right now is all Trump's fault. Really? Really? Because I did a little digging. All right? CNN, White House Press Secretary Psaki. Yeah, I went and checked this executive order, or this the sanctions on Cuba, and I went and checked it out. Here we go. This is when they started in 1962. John F. Kennedy proclaimed an embargo on trade between the United States and Cuba in response to certain actions taken by the Cuban government, and directed the Department of Commerce and Treasury to implement the embargo, which remains in place today. So on June 16th, 2017, the President Trump issued a national security presidential memorandum on the strengthening of the policy of the United States towards Cuba. Now, right off the bat, that's like strengthening. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, I had to read into this. So doing some digging, all right, I found the actual notice. Here's the beginning, all right? Section 1, the purpose of this memorandum. The United States recognizes the need for more freedom and democracy, improved respect for human rights, and increased free enterprise in Cuba. The Cuban people have long suffered under a communist regime that suppresses their legitimate aspirations for freedom and prosperity and fails to respect their essential human dignity. One of Trump's first things that he wanted to do was help Cubans. He was saying this years ago. Now they're trying to blame Trump when he got into office and was trying to help them fight this regime from the get-go. He's been trying for years. So now they're going to try to turn it around and gaslight all of these lefties in America to believe this, that somehow it's Trump's fault. Somehow they're not actually talking about communism. They're talking about COVID vaccines. They don't have enough vaccines. No, it's about communism. All right? They're upset about communism. They want freedom. They want a piece of what Americans have. Right? And Trump is trying to give it to them. Was trying to give it to him. But Biden, whoa. We can't give him any credit. They need to somehow make it seem like they're on his side. Now I go back to Joe Biden's statement. Oh, yeah? The Cuban people have bravely asserted fundamental and universal rights, huh? Must be protected and respected? How about you follow through with something that President Trump was doing for the Cuban people? How about that, Joseph Biden? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this BS where President Biden is claiming every single thing that Trump did is terrible, bad. I have to stop it and end it. And we're about to talk about one of those, the Keystone Pipeline. But I'm going to get there in a second. Because what pisses me off the most is the big pharma FU, that the executive order last year that Trump did, that somehow Biden reversed for some reason, spiking insulin prices back up through the roof. He ended the epidemic on opioids, which was a national emergency. Thanks, Trump, because I have personal people in my family that had issues with that stuff, and I'm grateful for Trump fighting big pharma against it. There was, I don't remember what pharmaceutical company just had to pay out over $200 million because they admitted that they were trying to get people hooked on it because it was really good. It was really, financially great for us because we made a lot of money. They probably made so much more than $200 million. That $200 million is probably like, whatever. Yeah, we messed up, but whatever. I'm so fed up with this. Joseph Biden and the Democrats are just the gaslighting, the biggest gaslighters I've ever seen. Jen Psaki, queen gaslighter. I'm so fed up with these people. I just want, you know what? Enough about them. Shout out to the Cuban people for standing up and fighting for what they deserve. Freedom.